Hi and welcome to a new GTK window tutorial. Today we are going to talk about new stuffs, new functions, and we are going to talk about GTK window set decorated, which we are kind of talking in some other videos, and we'll see about those functions as well. Okay, so that being said, we need the function which is called GTK set decorated. Let me find it. Right here, I found it, and says it's a function which returns void, takes two parameters: the window itself, and of course the Boolean setting. And says by default windows are decorated with a title bar, size control, etc. Some window manager allow GTK to disable this decoration, creating borderless windows. If you set the decorated property to false using this function, GTK Plus will do its best to convince the window manager not to decorate the window. Depending on the system, this function may or may not have any effect when called on a window that is already visible. Okay, that being said, anyway, you see the same story. You better call this function before you call GTK widget show, just to be clear. Okay, now let me call this function right here, and takes two parameters like it said, GTK window, and set it to true, which defaults. Basically now if I'm going to compile it and run it, you'll see no difference. You see we have our title bar right here, everything works fine. We can click and close the window because this was the last thing which was set. And now if I pass the setting to false, at this point we have a window which has nothing, no title bar, no close button, no maximize, no minimize, no nothing. So I only have a close button, that's it. Okay, these kind of things really I really want to see what happens. I mean, I never try something like this, but I want to try now what happens, or how does behave if I'm going to call it inside the callback function. How does works? Okay, static, I need a flag, static G Boolean flag is equal to false, and now we are going to say if flag is equal to false, which it is because we did set it right now, then set it to false, and then we are passing to true, else set it to true, and here false. I'm not even sure if it's working. I must be honest with you. I want to see if I can play with the decoration. Click. Yes, it's working. You see, I just change it from false to true only by clicking this button. I never tried. I never thought that I need it, but whatever. If you create a, I don't know, a game or something, or application where you need to disassemble these things during some, I don't know which settings you want to set or something like this, it works fine. You see, you can set the decoration to true or false by clicking a button, and it works fine. I never used it. Whatever. Okay, that being said, let me mark it as done, and now comes the interesting story. GTK window and mnemonic. What's the story with this? Yeah, mnemonics you already know what those things are, because you used to work with buttons and you saw what means to a mnemonic. A mnemonic, basically, you know, it is let's say a combination of key bindings which helps you to press a button, like for example by pressing the L key, Alt key, and the key which you set it. In this case, so what this means says adds a mnemonic to a window. Okay, how does especially how does this thing works? Well, I'm going to call it. As you can see, it takes 3 parameters. The first one is the window, the second one is a kval, which is a mnemonic. It is the key which you need to provide it, and the last one, it is the target, a widget which gets activated. In this case, in our case, we are going to use a button, the button which we already have it. So let me use this thing right here, and I'm going to say the first one is our GTK window. The second one, it is a kval. So in this case, we need a GTK K, and we are going to use B because from the button, it's not just a or I don't know, you can choose whatever you want to, and then we're going to pass the button. What that means? It means we are adding a mnemonic to the button, and once that we press Alt plus B key, it should be this button pressed. Let me see. Now I'm going to press Alt, and then B, and you see it's working. It's getting clicked, works fine. So basically, this is what this function does. You can set a button to do that thing for you without taking care of which means you can have your, let's say, your default button which always should be pressed when you use that key bidding combination, which is Alt plus B, and does the thing which you need it. Of course, there is another function, remove mnemonic, which I think says already what it does. It says remove the mnemonic from this window. We have the same 3 things, so basically you need to pass the same thing which you pass it to your add mnemonic, and then works fine. So basically now I'm calling GTK window remove mnemonic, and I'm passing the same thing, the window, the K, and the button. And now Alt B doesn't work anymore. One thing I want to ask you, what do you think it happens if, for example, we are setting now, let's say C, K. Now we have a mnemonic used on window. We have a GTK KB set, and we have also passed the button. And once that we set this mnemonic, we decide to set a new one, another mnemonic, this time the CK. What do you think it's happening? I mean, if you press now Alt B, works fine, and if you press Alt C, works also fine. You see? Why I'm telling you this? It is because if you decide to remove one of those keys, like me in this case, I'm going to remove the B. Now when I press Alt B, it doesn't work anymore, but Alt C works fine. So I hope you understand, because this is very important for you to understand. You can add as many as you want to. The documentation doesn't say about one or more, and that's why it's called add. Add means you can add more and more. And once that you set one, and maybe you set more, if you want to remove one from all those which you set them, then you call the remove, and you pass the same thing which you pass it through add to remove it, and then you leave the other one alone. Okay, so that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.